All right, guys, here we go again. We're up against Al-Nasr, and we'll see if we can get this finally turned around. 4 losses in a row. We've only had one victory so far this season. That was against Guangzhou, and they're pretty bad. So let's see what we can do here. We have made a couple of changes in terms of our personnel as we are still in 22nd place. We did bring Kim Jin-ya back up from the under 18s where he was kind of serving his time. The reason why is because we had yet another right wing back get injured with a 6-week injury. So that's just the way things have been. I think that I may have made some mistakes in trying to build up our sports scientists and physios. So it's problematic. There's a lot of things I think we would do differently, and it kind of shows you things about Football Manager Triolo with a very good stop in the back. The big problem that we have, of course, is a lot of these losses have been home matches, and we don't get those back very quickly. So, let's see what we can do to keep the ball out of the goal. We've done a pretty good job of that so far. 3 minutes into the match, still scoreless. Hey, you never know. Maybe we'll turn around and actually score a goal for a change. That would be a nice thing. Everybody looks deep in thought, but I would rather have them not deep in thought and rather have them out playing, which is what we like. And we'd rather not see them look really nervous either. Brun over to Gilardo, over to Andreu, down to Lerhoy. Lerhoy pulls this or brings this up right side and then just gives up possession really, really easily. That was pretty poor, and that's a problem that we've been having the whole time. None of our shadow strikers seem even remotely interested in playing defense. So there's Monta finally with a somewhat dangerous challenge. Andreu back to Gilardo, back to Andreu, over to Gilardo again, and we're just not getting any forward passes here at all. Instead, we decide to go back to Brun. I'm not quite sure why we're not getting forward passes. I mean, here we have an advantage of several men, and Akami is pretty fast. He passes to Lenari, whose shot is deflected and goes up and over for a corner, but at least we're trying for a change instead of just sort of holding the ball in midfield and looking at each other. So here's Pronk taking a corner, this doesn't really go very far. As usual, Gilardo with it, over to Hansen. Hansen back to Gilardo, over to Lenari, to Valakari, and that's the end of that. So this highlight ends up not really doing much. This was a good pass forward by Hansen, one of the very few times that we've seen anybody do anything positive. Akame kind of passed it there to Lenari, and he had two guys on top of him. And so it didn't quite work out that well, but when you have two guys on you, somebody's got to be open somewhere. Akame can't quite get onto that pass, and this ends up looking pretty bad, and we have given up yet another corner. So we haven't given up a goal yet, which is the good thing, but I'm not sure how much longer this is going to last. This is getting really, really ugly. It's Monta here in the back with it. Brings it forward, right side, and he's fouled, and the referee actually called something for a change. How about that? I guess we'll take a look at this here. Again, it was Akame who didn't do a very good job at getting in front of that. This shot really wasn't much of a shot, though. I don't think that really qualifies as a clear-cut chance. I'm not quite sure what the game thinks is a clear-cut chance, but that can't be it. That looked like it was a lot of nothing. Toze here with the corner and ends up going just about nowhere. Monta tries to go back and get onto that. Cannot. Akame tries to win the ball away, is unsuccessful at doing so, and we've got them retreating a little bit, but we can't seem to get a tackle in to get the ball off. Triolo finally does, and again, it's another dangerous one. Pronk now with it. Back to Triolo, to Lenari, over to Akame. Forward for Pronk, there you go. Pronk pulling it up left side, and his cross is off the very top of the crossbar and comes out right in front of goal. So that was unexpected, certainly, but that's all right. Something or other happened there, and we didn't give up a goal. That's the important thing. Valakari back to Gilardo, over to Andreu. Andreu forward to Monta, and he finds Akame. That's a good pass. Akame's shot, he's surrounded by four guys, so his shot is deflected, but that was something positive, and that gives us at least a pretty good feeling. Here's Pronk with the corner, and that ends up off of somebody's head, and so that's going to be the end of that one. And, let's see if we can get the ball back once again, and it's not looking so good at the moment. We don't have whoever this is here in the center. Akame, I think it is not really even trying to play defense. So Hansen ends up with this here in the back over to Lenari. Lenari moves up over to, not sure who that was, to Triolo, I guess. And it was a poorly designed pass. That's that lack of cohesion that we're seeing. and it has led to another attacking movement by them. That's a really good save, though, by Brunn. So we've managed to keep the ball out still. And I tell you, if we can get through a half of football without giving up a goal, that would be miraculous. It's Andreu who heads this one up and out of play for another corner. So we get to do this again. There's no need to see this replay. We'll take another look and see what happens here. Toze now with the corner. Lumps this up forward, and it's headed back and away. Wallyson should have scored there. Man, oh man, and they're going to give a penalty. That was, I think Hansen is the one who's called for the foul. And yeah, they've awarded it. I think there were probably it's Triolo who's called for it. There are probably a couple of people they could have called that on. This is another wasted replay. And unless Brunn can do something fantastic here, we're about to be down 1-0, and we will still give up goals in the first half. Brunn actually gets to that one, but it goes in behind him. And so it's a 1-0 for them, Al-Nasr, and I'm not quite sure what to do from here on out. I know we could change the tactic. I don't really feel like changing the tactic. I know that the tactic works. I think that the problem that we have here is a cohesion problem. And as I've said before, Football Manager is relentless when it comes to team cohesion. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We've given up a second goal. Wallyson with the header, and we are going down and down and down. So, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I would say that the hardest way to do a Football Manager save is the way that we've tried to do it here twice now with Seoul, which is you go into a team with a lot of older players who are not particularly good, and you try to get rid of them, right? That doesn't work because everybody gets upset because you're trying to sell their friends. We'll push it through here to the end of this match, but we're really upset, and we'll make a couple of changes here. We're going to lose this match. This is going to be the last match of this save. I'm done with this. It's not worth my time to mess around with these players who don't want to play, and it just makes me feel upset. So we're not going to do this after this. We're going to change projects. So start the second half, and we'll see what comes out of this. Gilardo with it in the back over to Valakari, up to Lerhoy over to Mwanta, and let's see if he can do something positive for a change. Now he just gives up possession right away. So much for that. And we have just a couple of minutes here into the second half, and we don't look like we want to have the ball. We don't look like we want to try particularly hard. We're just going to sort of give up, and we don't seem to care. So we'll demand more, and then we'll start berating these players right away. And players appear to be fired up, but it doesn't really matter. I want to see goals instead of guys feeling happy about themselves. Dreyer with his ball here in the back, over to Gilardo. Gilardo back to Dreyer, over to Valakari, and down to Brunn, over to Gilardo, over to Dreyer again. And he finds Mwanta, who's fouled right away. He works hard, though, to go back and get the ball back. Triolo now with it, down to Shada. And he knocks us forward to Akame, and there is that shot on goal, and Mwanta was right there, but couldn't quite get on top of that one. So we came close to scoring a goal for the first time in ages, but it didn't quite happen. Akame here was in a good position, had a good shot, but Mwanta was just a couple steps behind, and it just didn't quite happen, and that's kind of what's been going on. And now we need to get something else happening. I'm waiting for the shout to come back up so I can start screaming at these guys again and let them know what I really think of them. I hate to say this, but it's another project that looks like it's not going to wind up successful. The most success that we had was playing in Taiwan. So let's see what we can do here. Shada with it, over to Pronk. Pronk forward to Mwanta, over to Valakari, and he still can't score. He's right in point-blank range with nobody in front of him, and he still can't score. So we'll take another look at this one. Pronk with this on the left side. Good pass forward to Mwanta. He heads that forward, and there's Valakari. There's nobody in front of him, and he has plenty of space. And instead, he decides to poke it right at the head of the goalie. I'm not sure why he did that. And this is, like I said, this is the end of the road. This is the end of the road. This is not working. Lerhoy over to Kame, back to Lerhoy, over to Mwanta, and he takes a shot from range, and it's still off the crossbar. So it still is not working. Even when we scream at the players and we let them know what we think of them, it's still not working. And that is, my friends, going to be the end of this, and that will be the end of the road for this save. This winds up a very unsuccessful experiment, but if we were going to continue to play through with this, what we would see is just more losses. I mean, there's just no way. There's no way that we're going to be able to get this turned around because of the morale problem in the game. We're going to talk a lot more about the morale problems in Football Manager and the reason why it is the biggest problem that the game has. If you feel frustrated, you're probably frustrated because of something morale related, because there are no answers in the game. You can't do anything. You can't have some sort of team meeting. You can't talk with guys and say, oh, it'll be okay. Give us a little bit more time, try a little bit more of this, try a little bit more of that. There are no options to help fix the morale problems. So there you go. There is a full-time score. We lose this one 2-0 once again, and that's all she wrote. 0.95 xG, but we weren't close to scoring anything. Talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.